So here are my top 10 British guitarists. Now, at number 10 is a guy called Saul Hudson, but he's known professionally as Slash. Now, he was born in 1965, which is weird because so was I. So I'm 59 and he's either 58 or 59 or 60, depending on when he was born in 1965. I haven't got that written down, but never mind. Now, he's mostly known for being the lead guitarist of Guns N' Roses. And he was there in the late 1980s and the mid-1990s. Now, Slash has received critical acclaim and is considered to be one of the greatest guitarists in history. In 1991, Slash played lead guitar on the single Give In To Me from Michael Jackson's album Dangerous. Now, as well as playing on the song, he also played on another song of Michael Jackson's called Black or White. Now, you probably remember both of these brilliant guitar solos and, such likes. Now, in 2009, Time magazine named him runner-up to Jimi Hendrix on their list of the 10 best electric guitar players. Now, Slash announced in October 1996 that he was no longer part of Guns N' Roses. He said, "Axl and I have not been capable of seeing eye to eye on Guns N' Roses for some time." He did, however, get back with them, and it sort of happens all the time, doesn't it, with bands, well, especially big bands like that. People fall out and then, this happens. And then they get back together again, but there we go. So number 9 on my list is another guy with a strange name. It's not really a strange name, is it? It's just a different name. So this guy's called David Howell. Well, actually, David Howell Evans, basically. And he was born in 1961, but he's better known as The Edge from the supergroup U2. Now, as a member of U2, The Edge has won 22 Grammy Awards and has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Several music publications have ranked The Edge amongst the greatest guitarists of all time. Now, The Edge has also recorded with such artists as Johnny Cash, one of my favourite artists. I love Johnny Cash. And if you want to hear my, I think I've done 2 of his, two covers of Johnny Cash. So have a quick filter through my other videos and you'll find me doing Folsom Prison, I think. And another one. It's that one that was 9 Inch Nails, done by 9 Inch Nails. Can't remember what it was called now. Terrible. Anyway, so he's done some stuff for Johnny Cash, B.B. King, Tina Turner, and Ronnie Wood, amongst others. Now, in 2015, Rolling Stone ranked Bono and The Edge, so not just Bono, but Bono and The Edge, as number 35 on its list of the 100 greatest songwriters of all time. Now, yeah, he does. He writes songs too. So he's not, I say, just a guitarist, but, so you find that with guitarists anyway. They do tend to be writing songs. Not as many drummers do that, but a few drummers do too. Now, to number 8. So, number 8 is, this guy recorded his first single at the age of 16, but it was never released. He started the band Dire Straits in 1977 with his younger brother David. And David's one of my Facebook friends, I think, David, yeah. And very nice chap. And they were signed to Vertigo Records in 1978 and recorded the album Dire Straits, strangely enough, which featured the huge hit Sultans of Swing. Now, talking about Sultans of Swing, there's a lot of covers of Sultans of Swing on the internet, on YouTube. Well worth having a look at. I think Mary Spender's had a go at doing that one. Sultans of Swing. It's very, very good. I like that one. Anyway, we move along to something different. Right, so, okay, after releasing many other albums, the band released its mega-selling album, Brothers in Arms, which is the one I bought. That's the one with that steel guitar on the front. Well, it's not a steel... Well, it is a steel guitar, but it's not one of those weird steel guitars that well, you know what I mean. So, now that's sold more than 30 million copies. Good God. I mean, that is a lot of copies to sell. 30 million. So, in 1997... Mark joined, so we're actually talking about Mark Knopfler here, obviously, and, well, not obviously, but, definitely. He joined Eric Clapton, Sting, and others at the Royal Albert Hall in London for a charity concert in aid of the people of Montserrat. Now, the concert was organised by Sir George Martin, who we know used to sort the Beatles out, didn't he? Now, I went to see Dire Straits at the NEC in Birmingham, and it took them nearly the whole of the first half to warm up. But after the break, they sort of improved massively and played their biggest hits. Now, Mark Knopfler has always been on my list of guitarists to listen to. I've never always been overly keen on his vocals, but the actual songs that he wrote fitted his vocals perfectly well, But there you go. Now, when he was playing with Eric Clapton, I mean, both of them together, amazing, really, really good. So now we move on to number 7 in my list of the best British guitarists, and that is, well, a guy called Brian May. Now, Brian is widely acknowledged as one of the most influential, technically gifted guitarists in the history of rock. He's also a fabulous songwriter and is responsible for writing or co-writing many international hits with Queen. Now, he went to Hampton Grammar School in London. The reason why I'm saying this is because he's an incredibly clever guy, because he graduated with a degree in maths and physics from one of Britain's top universities, Imperial College London. So he's a very well-educated guitarist. Now, Brian always played to serve the songs. If a song only required minimal soloing, that's all he would do. His multi-tracking of guitar solos has also made him one of the most unique sounding guitarists in the world. Now, as a writer for Queen, he wrote the hard rock songs We Will Rock You, Tie Your Mother Down, and Hammer to Fall. But he also wrote some emotional songs such as Save Me and the symbolic Who Wants to Live Forever, which is one of my favourite songs. I love that. Now, all those songs proved his skills as a songwriter too. So, when I say not just a guitarist, I don't mean that just a guitarist is a bad thing, which of course it isn't. But, he did a lot more than playing the guitar. Okay, so now we're on to number 6 in my list of the top 10 British guitarists. Now, I would say at number 6 on my list we have a master musician, a film producer and actor, best known as the lead guitarist and occasionally lead vocalist of the Beatles. Yes, George Harrison. Now, George Harrison was born in 1943. He wasn't as in your face as the other guys in the band, but his influences on the band's sound were unmistakable. After the breakup of the Beatles, he started his solo career with Ringo Starr, Eric Clapton and Billy Preston. They created a 3-disc album called All Things Must Pass. Now, that included the signature song My Sweet Lord, which I think he had a few legal issues with that one, but I'm not sure whether it was that one. It might have been. Now, in 1988, he formed the Travelling Wilburys with Jeff Lynne, Roy Orbison, Tom Petty and Bob Dylan. And they made 2 very successful albums. Now, George never really considered himself a great guitar player. And he said that he used the guitar only to write songs, though it's easy to see that he was a very talented guitarist. and really knew what a song needed to make it great. So that was George Harrison. So number 5 on my list is a guitarist that was born in 1946 and was the lead guitarist of Pink Floyd. Now that's David Gilmour. Now he's considered to be one of the most influential guitarists on the rock stage as well. Now I might have said before, but I recorded twice at Abbey Road Studio 3 where Pink Floyd created the iconic Dark Side of the Moon album. Now we also hired the same Hammond organ that they used. Now David has the ability to do more with less, if that makes sense. But basically he doesn't fly around the fretboard. He sort of uses vibrato, a bit of bend, and a bit of subtle sustain to make the guitar sing. He's currently touring, actually, with his new album, Lookin' Strange. So if you get the opportunity to go and see him play live, I would recommend it very much so. So at number 4, we have a guitarist that played regularly with the Everly Brothers. Now, he did that for over 20 years, and he was also responsible for their 1983 reunion concert. His session work included 3 albums with the Crickets, and in 1976 was asked to join Emmylou Harris. Lou Harris's Hot Band. Now, from 1978, he worked for 5 years with Eric Clapton. Now, this guy's called Albert Lee, and Albert is known for his hybrid picking style, lightning speed. He's a very quick player around the fretboard. He's got melodic sensibilities too. Now in Nashville and Los Angeles, he's long been one of the most in-demand session guitarists ever. Nicknamed Mr. Telecaster, he is a musician's musician, and I think you know what I mean by that. So not only is he sort of idolised by plenty of the public, he's also idolised by lots and lots and lots of guitarists too. So he also owns some extremely iconic guitars, including Don Everly's Gibson J200. The Gibson Guitar Corporation made one for Don Everly and the other for Phil. Now, the guitars have an all-black, high-gloss lacquered finish and are equipped with twin Everly Brothers white pickguards. The Everly Brothers manager, Wesley Rose, had wanted the guitars to be presented to the Country Music Hall of Fame. But Everly informed him that guitars like that should be played, not kept sitting in a glass case. So Don Everly presented it to Albert along with his Gibson. Eric Clapton gave him the Gibson Les Paul Custom that he played whilst with Delaney and Bonnie. And Albert also plays his signature Music Man. Now, he also plays a Patrick James Eggle, which is, I don't know if you know, but Patrick James Eggle made Brian May's guitar many, many, many years ago. And he then moved into making acoustic guitars. Now, that's what Albert played, was a Patrick James Eggle acoustic guitar, and it's also very similar to the one I have. But unfortunately, although I do know I met Patrick a couple of times, but he's stopped making acoustic guitars. Now, he probably doesn't think that's unfortunately, but I do. But still, he is still making guitars, but he's making gorgeous electric guitars now. Now, that's fine, that's brilliant, but I don't need an electric guitar. I like his acoustic guitars. But anyway, maybe he'll make another acoustic guitar in the future, who knows. Now, at number 3, we have a fabulous English musician and a producer who achieved international success as the guitarist and founder of the rock band Led Zeppelin. Now, Jimmy Page is an amazing player, prolific at creating guitar riffs. His style includes alternative guitar tunings, so he uses a lot of different guitar tunings. Now, I've started playing with a few guitar tunings as well, I'm trying to sort of work out a Foo Fighters cover at the moment called Everlong, and that's got the E string, the bass E string tuned to D for that iconic sound that Dave Grohl's got. So it is quite an interesting thing to do. I never really did mess with tunings, I have to say. So anyway, he does that, and he's got melodic solos coupled with aggressive, distorted guitar tones. It's also characterised by his folk and Eastern-influenced acoustic work. Now, Jimmy began his career as a studio session musician in London, and by the mid-1960s, alongside Big Jim Sullivan, was one of the most sought-after session guitarists in Britain. Now, Jimmy is widely considered to be one of the greatest and most influential guitarists of all time. Rolling Stone magazine has described Page as the pontiff of power riffing and ranked him number 3 in their 2015 list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time, behind Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton. Now, to be a good session player and to be wanted that much, you have to be absolutely amazing at playing the guitar. And Jimmy Page was. So, in second place, we have a guitarist that was born in 1945. He ranks second in the Rolling Stones list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time, and fourth in Gibson's top 50 guitarists of all time. Now, this guy joined the Yardbirds from 1963 to 1965, and John Mayall and the Blues Breakers from 1965 to 1966. Then he went on to form Cream with drummer Ginger Baker and bassist vocalist Jack Bruce. Now, his name is Eric Clapton, one of the most respected guitarists ever. Now, Eric has received 18 Grammy Awards, a Brit Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music, 4 Ivor Novello Awards for the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors, including the Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, in 2004, he was awarded a CBE for services to music. This is how good Eric Clapton is. In his solo career, he has sold 100 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling musicians of all time. Now, everyone loves, well, I say everyone, but every guitarist loves Layla, and I've listened to that song numerous times. There's no way I can play anything like this guy, but he's one of my favourite guys. Right, so now, in first place, we have one of the most recognisable guitarists of all time. From his black dark rimmed glasses to the famous Shadows Walk, it could only be Hank Marvin. Now, Hank plays guitar like no one else, and has done since he and his Rutherford Grammar School friend Bruce Welch met Cliff Richard's manager at the 21's Coffee Bar in London. Well, he was looking for a guitarist for Cliff Richard's UK tour and was considering a guy called Tony Sheridan. But instead, he offered Marvin the position. Now, Hank agreed to join the Drifters as long as there was a place for Bruce. So there you have it. There are the Shadows. Now, after a threat of legal action by the American Drifters, because that was their name, the Drifters, they changed their name to the Shadows in 1959. Now, known mainly for their instrumental songs like Apache in 1960, FBI in 1961, Wonderful Land 1962, and Foot Tapper in 1963, they also did Don't Throw It All Away. Now, that was a song written by a friend of mine called David Mindel, and his writing partner as well, Gary Benson. Now, the Shadows actually sang on this one, though. Now, I asked David if I could cover it on my album Some Light Shines, so I recorded it at Abbey Road Studios back in 2022. Now, I will be, in fact, I've actually done it of me interviewing David on my channel. So keep an eye out, as it should be a very entertaining one, as he's done pretty much everything that could be done as a songwriter. Now, The Shadows came second for the United Kingdom in the 1975 Eurovision Song Contest with the song Let Me Be the One. Hank also wrote songs for other artists like Olivia Newton-John's 1977 hit Sam. Now, so did David Mindel. He wrote songs or a song, probably a few songs actually, for Olivia Newton-John. Now, the hit Sam that he wrote, that Hank wrote, he co-wrote that with John Farrar and Don Black. Now, I hope you agree with my number one, but you probably won't if you're under a certain age, because there are obviously a lot more younger guitarists. But I'm talking about guitarists that I think, over the term that I've been listening to guitarists, are the greatest. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like and subscribe. Catch you on the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.